Gentlemen, let me begin with a simple but powerful fact. If you're a man over 60, there's a high chance that the very vitamins you're taking to improve your health may actually be destroying your sexual performance. This isn't a scare tactic, it's neuroscience, and today we're going to talk about the biological mechanisms that explain why. Because if you're taking any of these 4 common supplements, often recommended in multivitamins, on blogs, or even by well-meaning doctors, you're potentially impairing the very systems that support healthy erections, libido, and hormone balance. Now, why does this matter? Erections are not just about sex. They're a critical biomarker of vascular health, nitric oxide signaling, testosterone function, and overall nervous system integrity. If your erections are weakening, it's not just your bedroom that's being affected. It's your entire system signaling that something is wrong. As men age, particularly beyond the age of 60, maintaining optimal health becomes a top priority. Many turn to vitamins and supplements in an effort to support longevity, vitality, and sexual performance. The supplement industry, marketing multivitamins as a one-stop solution, often encourages high-dose intake of certain nutrients, suggesting they're essential for male health. However, what most men don't realize is that excessive intake of some of these vitamins can quietly and gradually sabotage their sexual function, especially their ability to maintain strong and reliable erections. The biological systems involved in achieving and sustaining an erection are highly complex. They involve the coordinated actions of the vascular system, the nervous system, and the endocrine system. Blood flow must be sufficient and well regulated. Neurotransmitters like dopamine must function properly, and hormones such as testosterone must be active and effective. Introducing certain vitamins in excess can disrupt this delicate balance, leading to negative consequences that many men misattribute to aging alone. For example, high doses of vitamin E, which many take for its antioxidant benefits, can thin the blood. While this might sound beneficial for heart health, it can actually impair the ability of blood vessels in the penis to trap and retain blood during arousal. Erections rely heavily on pressure. The corpus cavernosum must become engorged and maintain blood under pressure to stay firm. If blood flows too freely due to overthinning, the pressure is reduced and firmness suffers. This means that instead of supporting vascular health, excess vitamin E may be undermining it in a very targeted and sensitive area. Similarly, oversupplementation with vitamin D, although often praised for its role in testosterone production, can lead to problems if not properly balanced with other nutrients like magnesium and vitamin K2. Without these co-factors, excessive vitamin D can cause calcium to be deposited in the arteries, including the very small ones that supply blood to the penis. These calcified arteries lose flexibility and responsiveness, leading to a reduction in blood flow. This subtle form of vascular damage often goes unnoticed until men begin experiencing symptoms like weaker erections, yet few connect the dots back to their supplement routine. In addition, vitamin A in synthetic forms can be especially problematic. It's fat-soluble, which means it accumulates in the body over time. High levels of synthetic vitamin A can interfere with androgen receptor activity, effectively dulling the impact of testosterone, even if blood levels are normal. Since erections are not just a matter of blood flow, but also depend heavily on hormonal signaling, this interference can significantly reduce libido and arousal, contributing to performance issues. All of this points to a central truth. The assumption that vitamins are always safe because they're natural is deeply flawed. Doses matter, context matters, and age-specific physiology matters. For men over 60, who already experience natural declines in vascular flexibility, hormone production, and neurotransmitter sensitivity, the impact of excessive vitamin intake is magnified. Rather than supporting health, these nutrients, when taken in unbalanced or unnecessary amounts, can actively work against the very systems they're meant to protect. Understanding this reality is essential. If men want to protect their sexual health, energy, and overall vitality, they must move beyond blind supplementation and toward informed, personalized choices based on science and individual biology. Erectile function relies heavily on proper vascular health. For men over 60, this is especially critical, as aging naturally leads to reduced elasticity of blood vessels and slower endothelial function, the processes responsible for delivering and regulating blood flow. Vitamins like E and D are often thought of as helpful for heart and bone health, but in excessive amounts, they can work against optimal vascular function, particularly in the sensitive and finely tuned system that governs erections. Vitamin E is widely marketed as a powerful antioxidant. It's often included in multivitamins and consumed by men hoping to protect themselves against heart disease, cancer, and inflammation. However, what isn't commonly discussed is that high doses of vitamin E can act as a blood thinner. While thinning the blood might sound helpful for reducing clot risk, it can interfere with a critical function necessary for strong erections: blood trapping within the penis. When a man becomes sexually aroused, blood must flow into the penis quickly and then be retained to maintain firmness. This process requires a balance between inflow and restricted outflow. If the blood is too thin, the penis can struggle to maintain the internal pressure necessary for a sustained erection, leading to decreased firmness and early loss of arousal. Over time, this effect becomes more noticeable, and men may not understand why their performance is declining, even though they are taking vitamins to stay healthy. Vitamin D, on the other hand, plays a crucial role in hormone regulation, bone health, and immune function. It's commonly recommended for older adults to support aging bones and to compensate for reduced sun exposure. However, high doses of vitamin D, particularly when taken without adequate levels of magnesium and vitamin K2, can create a serious problem: calcium mismanagement. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium, but without K2 to direct calcium into the bones and magnesium to support balance, this calcium can instead get deposited into soft tissues like arteries. This process is known as arterial calcification, and it's particularly dangerous when it affects the small arteries responsible for supplying blood to the penis. These arteries, though tiny, play an outsized role in erectile function. They must expand rapidly and fill under pressure in response to neural and hormonal signals. If they become stiff due to calcification, their responsiveness decreases. The result is slower blood flow, weaker erections, and in some cases, complete erectile dysfunction. The most concerning aspect is that this damage occurs silently over time. A man may feel fine overall, but begin noticing subtle changes in arousal, responsiveness, and erection quality, never suspecting that excess vitamin D is partly to blame. Both vitamin E and D are essential for health, but their impact is highly dose-dependent and influenced by individual biochemistry. When taken appropriately and with the right cofactors, they support healthy aging, but when consumed in megadoses, often encouraged by misleading health trends or over-formulated supplements, they can quietly sabotage the very vascular health that makes sexual performance possible. For men over 60, understanding the true effects of these vitamins is not just about preventing dysfunction, it's about preserving one of the body's most important signals of vitality. Erections are a reflection of vascular integrity. Protecting them means managing nutrient intake with precision, not excess. Maintaining healthy sexual function as a man ages involves more than just hormones and blood flow. It also requires proper neurological signaling and balanced nutrient levels that allow hormones like testosterone to act efficiently. Two nutrients often assumed to support male health, vitamin A and zinc, can become problematic when taken in excess. While both are essential in small amounts, high doses, especially from supplements, can disrupt hormonal and neurochemical processes that directly affect erections, libido, and overall sexual performance. Vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin and necessary for vision, immune function, and cell growth. However, when taken in large amounts, particularly from synthetic supplements rather than food sources, it can accumulate in the body and become toxic. This buildup can interfere with androgen receptor activity. Androgen receptors are the cellular docking stations for testosterone and other male hormones. When testosterone levels are normal but androgen receptors are blocked or desensitized, the body may not respond to testosterone effectively. In the context of sexual health, this means that libido may drop, arousal may be delayed, and erections may become weaker or less frequent. Men may not even realize that it's not a lack of testosterone causing the issue. It's the reduced ability of the hormone to do its job due to blocked receptors, often influenced by high vitamin intake. Zinc is another nutrient commonly associated with male health. It's involved in testosterone production, sperm formation, and immune function. Because of this, it's heavily marketed in men's supplements, especially those labeled as testosterone boosters or performance enhancers. While zinc deficiency can impair testosterone levels and sexual function, chronic oversupplementation carries its own set of risks. One of the most significant concerns with high zinc intake is the depletion of copper, an equally vital mineral that works in balance with zinc. Copper is required for enzymes that produce dopamine, a neurotransmitter essential for sexual motivation, arousal, and reward. When copper levels fall too low due to excess zinc, dopamine synthesis drops. This not only affects mood and motivation, but also decreases the neurological signals needed for sexual excitement. Even if blood flow and hormone levels are intact, a deficiency in dopamine can reduce interest in sex and impair the mental and emotional response to arousal. This can lead to delayed or absent erections, loss of desire, and in some cases, complete disinterest in sexual activity. Additionally, high zinc intake can cause direct damage to the delicate balance of the hypothalamic, pituitary, gonadal HPG axis, the hormonal control center that regulates testosterone production. Disrupting this feedback loop through mineral imbalances can reduce natural testosterone synthesis, even in men who initially had healthy levels. The issue isn't that vitamin A and zinc are inherently harmful. They are crucial for many biological functions, but taking them in excessive amounts, especially in supplement form, can do more harm than good. For men over 60, whose hormonal systems are already more sensitive to imbalances, the consequences of oversupplementation are amplified. Rather than supporting energy and performance, these nutrients, when taken without guidance or monitoring, can interfere with both hormonal effectiveness and neurological drive, two pillars of healthy sexual function. Understanding this can help men make smarter decisions about what they put in their bodies and how to preserve their vitality well into older age. Many men over 60 turn to multivitamins with the intention of preserving their health, increasing energy, and maintaining sexual vitality. These supplements are often marketed as essential tools for aging well, filled with a wide range of vitamins and minerals designed specifically for men. However, a major and often overlooked problem is that these multivitamins frequently contain certain nutrients, like vitamins E, D, A, and zinc in amounts that far exceed what the body actually needs. While this might seem like a benefit on the surface, it can quietly contribute to hormonal disruption, vascular issues, and even loss of sexual function over time. The central issue lies in how these formulations are created. Most multivitamins are not tailored to individual needs. They are designed with a one-size-fits-all approach, often based on outdated recommendations or generalized assumptions. Younger men with fast metabolisms and high physical output, this may not pose a problem. But for older men whose bodies process nutrients differently, the excessive levels of certain vitamins can cause subtle but cumulative damage, particularly in the systems responsible for sexual health. These high doses are often far above the recommended dietary allowance RDA. For example, a multivitamin might contain 400 IU of vitamin E, well above the daily requirement, or 500 IU of vitamin A, which can build up in the liver over time. Similarly, many men's formulas contain 2000 to 500 U of vitamin D per day, often without taking into account how much sunlight the individual gets or whether their magnesium levels can support proper calcium absorption. Zinc levels in these supplements also frequently exceed the safe upper limit, leading to mineral imbalances that affect neurotransmitter production and hormone function. What makes this even more problematic is that these nutrients are fat, soluble or stored in the body, meaning that excess intake does not simply flush out like water-soluble vitamins. Instead, they accumulate gradually and begin to interfere with delicate physiological systems. The hormonal axis becomes less responsive, receptor sites can become downregulated, and vascular tissues may stiffen or calcify. All of these changes directly affect erectile strength, arousal response, and overall libido. And because the process happens slowly, most men do not connect their declining sexual function to the supplements they take every day with good intentions. There is also the issue of synergy and nutrient competition. High doses of one nutrient can interfere with the absorption or function of another. For instance, high zinc intake can block copper absorption, which affects dopamine and energy metabolism. An imbalance like this can lead to low sexual desire, fatigue, and even mood disturbances, symptoms often attributed to aging, when in fact they may be the result of poor supplementation habits. Ultimately, while the idea of complete multivitamin sounds appealing, the reality is that most men over 60 benefit far more from a targeted, personalized supplement strategy. Instead of relying on generic formulas, men should base their nutrient intake on lab testing, lifestyle, and current health conditions. This approach ensures that vitamins work with the body's systems rather than against them. Sexual health is not just about hormones or age, it's about maintaining a careful balance of nutrients, and unfortunately, most multivitamins disrupt that balance without warning.